Hello, friends. Imagine, for a moment, a truth so profound, so intimately personal, it has been whispered through the ages, yet often remains unheard in the clamor of our modern lives. A truth about the quiet moments, the hidden anguish, the tears that fall when no one else is watching. What if those tears seemingly lost, evaporating into the air, were not lost at all? What if every silent sob, every hidden tremor of your heart, every tear that carved a path down your cheek in the darkest solitude, was not only seen but collected, stored, cherished, as if they were pearls of immense value? This isn't just a comforting thought, a poetic fancy. This is a foundational, electrifying truth woven into the very fabric of existence, a promise, a truth that, once understood, can fundamentally alter your perception of pain, of loss, of every single struggle you've ever faced. Because if every tear you've cried, God has seen, then it means your suffering is not invisible. It means your pain is not invisible. It means your pain is not ignored. It means you are never truly alone. It means that is the question that, once answered, can transform your deepest despair into an unshakable hope. This isn't a lecture. This is a journey into the heart of an ancient narrative, a pulse-pounding exploration of divine empathy, a revelation that will reframe everything you thought you knew about your own sorrow. Prepare to witness moments where human fragility met divine omnipotence, and tears became the vain art. His life was a symphony of triumph and tragedy, a crucible of power and profound personal failure. He knew the depths of despair, the bitter sting of betrayal, the crushing weight of his own sins. His psalms, those raw, unfiltered cries from the soul, are drenched in sorrow. He knew what it felt like to be hunted, to be an outcast, to face the very real threat of. Yet, in the midst of this overwhelming anguish, David penned words that echo across time, a testament to a divine truth he had somehow grasped. In Psalm 56, a psalm he wrote while fleeing from the Philistines in Gath, a time of immense fear and uncertainty, he cries out to God, "You have kept count of my tossings. Put my tears in your bottle, my tossings." The restless nights, the anxious turning, the inability to find peace amidst the chaos. God keeps a meticulous record of every single one. But then, the profound, almost unbelievable part, "Put my tears in your bottle." This isn't a casual observation. It is an active, deliberate collection, a divine act of preservation. It is an active. And why? Because they are noted in your book. Imagine a divine ledger, not of your failings, not of your shortcomings, but of your pain. A chronicle of your very suffering, meticulously documented by the creator of the universe. This isn't just empathy. It's an intimate, almost forensic attention to your inner world. David understood something fundamental about God's nature, that his gaze penetrates beyond the superficial, beyond the brave face, beyond the practiced smile, and delves into the raw, unspoken language of the soul's deepest agony. His tears were not unseen, they were not unheard, they were in fact recorded. Why would God, the all-powerful, all-knowing, it's a mystery, a puzzle, an enigma that challenges our very perception of divinity. But David was not the first, nor the last, to experience this radical, almost unbelievable truth. His words resonate with a tradition of divine intervention in moments of profound human distress, a narrative thread that stretches back to the earliest chapters of humanity's story. With her young son, Ishmael, by her side, her water skin empty, her hope evaporating under the relentless sun, Hagar faced the ultimate desolation. She laid her son under a bush, moving a bowshot away, because she could not bear to watch him die. And there, in that vast, unforgiving expanse, utterly alone, consumed by grief and but a raw, primal wail of a mother watching her child succumb to thirst. She had no one, no protector, no advocate, no one to hear her anguished cries. Her tears mingled with the desert dust. But she was wrong, wrong. She was not alone. The Bible tells us, God heard the voice of the boy, and the angel of God called to Hagar from Hagar, Do not. Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. And she went and filled the skin with water and gave the boy a drink. God didn't just hear the boy's cry, though that was vital. He heard Hagar's silent tears. He saw her despair, her hopelessness, her utter vulnerability. He didn't send a messenger to tell her to stop crying. He responded to the depth of her agony. He provided for her need. Her tears, spilled on the parched earth, were not wasted. They were the very signal that activated divine intervention. They were seen, and they evoked a response that saved 2 lives. It challenges our perception, doesn't it, that the creator of everything would notice the quiet suffering of one outcast woman in the wilderness. The quiet suffering of one outcast woman in the well at Differtantion. She desperately longed for a child, but her womb remained closed. Year after year, she went to the tabernacle to worship, and year after year, her rival, Peninnah, provoked her, tormenting her because the Lord had closed her womb. This was not a physical wound, but a deep emotional agony, a social stigma, a spiritual burden. Imagine her agony, a social stigma. The text says, she was deeply distressed and prayed to the Lord and wept bitterly. Bitterly, not just a few tears, but a profound outpouring of sorrow, a physical manifestation of her soul's anguish. Her prayer wasn't eloquent or poised, it was a raw, guttural plea, punctuated by sobs. Eli the priest, observing her, even mistook her for being, but Hannah explained, I am a woman distressed in spirit. I have been pouring out my soul before the Lord. She wasn't just praying with words. She was praying with her tears. She was offering her brokenness, her unfulfilled longing, her profound sorrow, as a sacrifice. And what was God's response to this bitter weeping? Then she went her way and ate some. He heard her bitter cries, and he opened her womb, blessing her with Samuel, a son who would become one of Israel's greatest prophets. Her tears, far from being a sign of weakness, were a powerful intercession, a language understood perfectly by the one who created her. They were the catalyst for a miracle, proof that God is not deaf to the silent language of a broken heart. From David's recognition that God bottles his tears, to Hagar's survival in the desert, to Hannah's miraculous motherhood, sant in each instance, human tears are not dismissed. They are acknowledged. They are responded to. But what about suffering on a scale that defies individual experience? What about the profound existential questions that arise when pain seems a righteous man, blameless and upright, whose life was suddenly, catastrophically stripped away? His children killed, his possessions destroyed, his health ravaged by painful sores from head to foot. He sat in ashes, scraping his sores with a potsherd, abandoned by all but his well-meaning but ultimately misguided friends. Job, in his agony, cried out to God. His despair was absolute, his physical pain excruciating, his spiritual torment profound. He was a man drowning in tears, both literal and metaphorical. He said, "My eye has grown dim because of sorrow, and all my members are like a shadow." Job 17:7, his very body was wasting away from the sheer weight of his tears. He implies, not with an explanation, not with a philosophical treatise on pain, but with a display of his own magnificent power and wisdom, challenging Job from a whirlwind. God did not dismiss Job's tears, or his questions, or his raw, unfiltered anguish. He met Job in his suffering, not necessarily with answers, but with his very presence, and ultimately he restored Job, blessing him with double what he had lost. It's about the unwavering, intimate presence of God, even in the deepest, most incomprehensible darkness. Job's tears, though they seemed to fall on barren ground, were not unnoticed. They were part of a divine crucible, shaping a faith that transcended understanding. His pain, and the tears it produced, became a testament to a relationship with God that was forged in the fires of inexplicable sorrow. Struck down by a terminal illness, told by the prophet Isaiah that he would die, Hezekiah turned his face to the wall and wept bitterly. This was not a tantrum. This was a man confronting the end of his earthly existence, a man pleading for more time, and in response to his tears, Isaiah was sent back to him before he had even left the middle court with a message from the Lord. I have heard your... Isaiah hadn't even completed his journey. God's ear was so attuned to Hezekiah's weeping, his eye so fixed on his tears, that the message of extension was delivered almost instantaneously. Hezekiah's tears weren't a sign of weakness. They were a powerful prayer, a desperate cry that pierced the heavens and moved the heart of God. They were seen, they were heard, and they evoked a miraculous intervention. What about the tears of God himself, manifested in human form? This is where the narrative shifts from God witnessing human tears to God shedding them. This is where the divine meets the human in the most profound expression of shared sorrow. Enter Jesus of Nazareth, the Son of God and fully man, walking among us, experiencing the full spectrum of human emotion. First, at the tomb of Lazarus, his friend, Lazarus, had died. Though Jesus knew he would raise him, he stood before the tomb, witnessed the profound grief of Martha and Mary, saw their tears, felt the weight of death's grip on humanity, and despite his divine power, Jesus wept. John 11:35, the shortest verse in the Bible, yet one of... He wept because he grieved with those who grieved. He wept because he saw the devastating impact of sin and death on a world he loved. His tears were not a sign of weakness, but of profound solidarity. They were the tears of God himself, experiencing the full depth of human sorrow, validating every tear ever shed by a grieving heart. They were tears that Jesus, as he approached the city, the very heart of his people, he looked upon it and wept, saying, "Would that you, even you, had known on this day the things that make for peace, but now they are hidden from your eyes." Luke 19:41-42. These were tears of prophetic sorrow, tears for a city that, despite countless warnings and opportunities, refused to recognize its Messiah, refused to embrace. He wept not for his own suffering, but for the impending judgment that would fall upon them due to their blindness and stubbornness. These tears reveal a God who deeply laments the choices of his creation, who yearns for their salvation, and whose heart breaks when they reject his loving outstretched hand. They are tears of divine heartbreak, a testament to God's profound desire for humanity's reconciliation with him. Finally, and perhaps most profoundly, the tears of Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. On the eve of his crucifixion, facing the agonizing reality of bearing the sins of the world, he prayed with intense anguish. The book of Hebrews tells us he offered up prayers and supplications with loud cries and tears to him who was able to save him from death, and he was heard because of his reverence. Imagine the scene, the Son of God, sweating drops of blood, crying out with loud cries and tears, not for his own physical pain, but for the weight of humanity's sin, for the cosmic separation from his Father that was about to occur. These were the tears of ultimate sacrifice, the tears of a Redeemer facing the unimaginable burden of atonement. They were the tears that validated. They showed that God himself understood the ultimate cost of sin and was willing to bear it, even to the point of his own agonizing tears. These tears of Jesus are the ultimate proof that God not only sees your tears, but he has experienced them. He has walked in your shoes, known your pain, and wept your tears. Known your pain and wept your tears. This shared experience creates an unshakable bond. Consider Mary Magdalene, standing outside the empty tomb on that resurrection morning. Her heart shattered, her hope obliterated, she stood there weeping. Not just crying, but weeping uncontrollably, her face stained with tears. She had lost her Lord, her hope, her entire world. She was looking for a body, a corpse to mourn over, unable to comprehend the miraculous truth that had just done. And it was to her, in her profound grief, her eyes still blurry with tears, that the risen Christ first appeared. He spoke her name, a single, tender word, Mary. John 20:16. And in that moment, her tears of sorrow transformed into tears of overwhelming joy and recognition. Her tears of overwhelming joy and recognition. Her tears had led her, the brash, impulsive disciple who vowed never to deny Jesus, yet 3 times in the space of a few hours. He did precisely that. When the rooster crowed and Jesus turned and looked at Peter, the full weight of his betrayal crashed down upon him. And Peter went out and wept bitterly. Luke 22-62, a profound soul-wrenching cry of regret. These were tears of brokenness, tears of profound repentance, and those tears, seen by Christ, were not ignored. They were the prelude to his restoration. Jesus, after his resurrection, met Peter, not with condemnation, but with a question of love. "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" John 21:15. 3 times he asked, mirroring Peter's 3. His bitter tears of failure were transformed into tears of renewed devotion, leading to his recommissioning as a shepherd of God's flock. His tears, though born of failure, were seen and became the very instrument of his spiritual rebirth. These stories, spanning millennia, from the desolate wilderness to the bustling streets of Jerusalem, from the tear-stained face of a broken king to the agonizing cries of the Son of God, all point to a singular, awe-inspiring truth: your tears matter to God. Every single one. They are not random chemical reactions. They are not insignificant. They are met with compassion, with intervention, and ultimately with the promise of transformation. But this incredible journey through the depths of human sorrow and divine empathy leads us to a climax, a breathtaking vision of a future where tears are not just collected or heard, but utterly eradicated. This is the ultimate promise, the culmination of God's redemptive plan for humanity, a world utterly free from the curse of sin, pain, and death. And in this breathtaking vision, God himself makes a profound declaration about the future of human suffering. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more, neither shall there be more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain any more, for the former things have passed away. Revelation 21:4. This, not just the big ones, but every tear you've ever cried, the tears of childhood fear, the tears of teenage insecurity, the tears of adult heartbreak, the tears of disillusionment, the tears of loss, the tears of injustice, the tears of loneliness, the tears of physical pain, the tears of spiritual wrestling tenderly wiped away by the hand of God himself. And what does the absolute end of mourning, of crying, of pain? The former things, the things that caused tears, will have passed away forever. This is the grand narrative arc of the universe, the ultimate resolution to the human condition. It's not just a comforting thought for the future, it's a profound truth that redefines the present. If this is the ultimate destination, then every tear, your present tears, are not evidence of God's absence, but often, paradoxically, evidence of his profound presence. The very fact that you can feel such pain, that you can shed tears, is a testament to the depth of your capacity for love. For love, for connection, for love, for connection, for meaning darts into capacity given to you by a loving Creator. And his promise is not just to witness those tears, but to every tear you've cried is a drop in the ocean of your personal history, meticulously charted by the one who loves you more than you can possibly imagine. They are the liquid prayers, the silent declarations, the raw expressions of a soul yearning for something more, something eternal, and God sees them. He collects them. He responds to them, and one day he will abolish them. He's the powerful. It means your pain has a voice, and that voice is heard in the highest courts of heaven. It means your grief is not a sign of weakness, but a profound expression of your humanity, recognized and honored by your Creator. It means that no matter how dark the night, no matter how heavy the burden, no matter how endless the tears seem to be, there is a promise woven into the fabric of your very being. God is with you. They are kept, and they are the prelude to a future where sorrow is a distant memory and joy reigns eternal. If this message resonated with you, if it brought a glimmer of hope or a moment of peace, please consider subscribing to the channel. Your support helps us continue to share these powerful truths and narratives. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. It truly makes a difference.